Hello, you are listening to the Mental Money Podcast, and today we have with us Swire Ho. I pronounced that correctly, right?
Hmm.
Okay, awesome. Good, good, good. I have the terrible habit of butchering names, but today we did a good job. Yay for Natalie. Where's my cheer? What happened? Oh, okay. No cheering today. All right, maybe not. All right, so all right. So for Swire, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your patience earlier. Thank you for um not chewing me out. I deserved it. I really did. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on today, Natalie. Looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, of course. So talk to me a little bit about your brand and how you got started in um the promotional space.
How much time do we have? It's a long story. How it's funny how everyone end up in the promotional product business. This is not an industry that you want to be in, and I go to school. I just want to be in the promotional product industry. So I somehow stumbled upon the industry from my last business. I was in the CD and DVD replication industry. If you're old enough like me, you still have CD and DVDs that you might purchase. So we work with film companies and record label doing their CDs and DVDs. Along the way, musicians when they go on tours, they ask if you guys do merchandise, T-shirts, hats that we could sell. So we end up getting into that process. And in 2013, we sold that part of the business and focus now exclusively on promotional product.
Awesome. No, that's a great segue. What was the top industry that you found yourself like receiving inquiries for promotional products? Was it music specifically?
For right now,
No, back then.
yeah, back then it was all in the entertainment industry. Musician, people going on red carpet, or back in the days they do want to send it to musicians or other film company. So those are the times that we use CDs and then promotional product, and sometimes we bundle a toy as a promotional product merchandise along with the DVD. So that's why at the end of the DVD cycle, you see that DVD selling for like $50, $100, but then you get this little toy in there. So it's a kind of a great way to people to buy into a more expensive product.
That's so dope. It's really great that you say that because we actually talked about like we have a group of amazing women who we kind of meet every week and we discussed different business topics. And one of the pricing strategies that we talked about was bundle pricing and loss leaders and promotional pricing. Promotional products kind of fit into that schema. So it's interesting that you mentioned that, right? Um, Talk to us a little bit about why a business would be interested in using a promotional product. Like, what's the psychology behind that?
There's a lot of different ways. So in specific, what I like to do when customer call me for using promotional product, for a variety of reasons, I ask them, who do you want to target? The best way to use promotional product is determining who your ideal clients are. And
Right.
then let me know a little bit about who you're targeting, their demographics. Maybe they have a certain job title, maybe they hang out at a certain place. Then I could provide a promotional item that could connect them with your brand. Or if you're selling a expensive or long cycle services, can this promotional product be a part of the experience for the overall big picture? So if you're able to find that promotional product, as I would ask, being asked, this question, what is the best promotional product? That will be the best promotional product for you.
Right. Okay, so do you have like an archive or like a catalog of products or do you can you do a like a build out of something that a client would need depending on what their business or service is?
It will be all of the above. If you
Okay.
talk about domestically, we have access to 5,000 different items. We sometimes do custom work. For the past 2 years, we've been doing a lot of box sets.
Okay.
So gone are the days that you do one item. Now, because company wanted to send their audience a box set with different gifts that relate to them, or what we have done also when let's say a company attending an event, a trade show, they will actually send gift to their target audience to invite them to visit them at the trade show. So these are all things that we can do. And I think with creativity, it's no limit on promotional products.
Okay. That's awesome. So talk to me more about strategy, right? Because I'm a strategist by heart. So my audience really values when I really talk to them about like outlining and road mapping, how to really work concepts into practice, right? So let's say we're building out, right now we're talking a lot about grants, okay?
Mhm.
So, and it's really good that you're mentioning target audience because when we talk about grants, we do talk about who are we targeting because that's a question that they ask in the grant applications, who your target our audience is. And let's say we want to integrate promotional materials into that part of our business. Now, from a strategic or strategist point of view, depending on if we're building like a new initiative or we have a project that we're trying to launch, how do we work in a promotional material, like from a wide view lens, like making it fit within our budget and also um, making it also fit within our revenue model as well.
That's $1 million question. And
It is.
if one
Yeah.
can answer that question,
Yeah.
things will be a lot easier. And obviously, certainly when we, as a small business entrepreneur, our marketing resources are limited.
Yeah.
But think about that, even with big company, the most frequently mistakes I think people get into promotional product is think that they need to market to everyone. For
Mhm.
example, let's use the most popular promotional product, which is a branded pen, right? They
Right.
will think that since we have a logo, we are a company, we need to do as many pens as if you can, and everyone walk through the door needs to have a pen. I
Mhm.
wanted to throw that away, and that's not a strategy you should be using.
Right.
Once you identify your target audience and you know who they are, where do they hang out, maybe a certain title or the whole demographics that you decide, and then think about things that they will use in their daily life. Or when you target someone that has maybe sit behind a desk, go visit them or visit their competitor or the demographics. Look at things that they don't have on their desk, but something that you will put your logos on, they'll still have to use it. For example, it will be a living plant that is engraved with the logo on the pot. That's a really popular item. People like to put plants, like you see on my back behind, and then they normally don't buy it for themselves at the office. Another good way, for example, if you are auto repair shop, I've have good success for them printing a full color printed clock to send it to all their clients. So
Mhm.
think about your clients, what they want. It's not what you want to buy, it's what they want to receive. So that's a big difference there.
Right. No, for sure. No, that makes total sense. Total sense. Here's the thing though, right? Like, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit, just a little bit, right? From a psychological and branding perspective, let's say I work in a it doesn't matter what industry, pick an industry, right? If I'm picking a product as a promotional item that does fit into my client's life, let's say we pick the perfect item and it's something that they have, it's functional, they use it all the time. And psychologically, from a marketing perspective, we are top of mind because this is something that they're always using. But it doesn't really align with my brand. It really just aligns with something that they need. Does it really make a difference? And is there a way to measure how likely they are to really come back to me since they're using this product and it's a part of their life?
Well, I'm in the camp that if you don't think it's relevant to what you do, you don't have to buy promotional product. I've said it on the record. So you need a
Okay.
website, you need your accounting, in marketing, you need email marketing. But when you decided this campaign is not, you don't need promotional product to attend a trade show. But what promotional product can do to a brand is it could solidify the brand image. For example, if
Mm,
you say my brand is luxury, or my brand is sustainable, or my brand is customer centric. So a promotional product can enhance that image. Think about what people receive. Can they really relate it to your brand? If they can, you're doing a good job. For example, going back to the CD musician days, when you go to a concert, I know how much a T-shirt can be made,
right.
but you will buy a T-shirt for over $50 at a concert
Mhm.
right now. So they make a huge profit margin, but you're willing to share and purchase that from your hard-earned money because you support the brand, you support
Right.
your musicians. And what you will do the next day when you go to work, you wear the T-shirt if you're allowed to, and then you tell every single body about your experience at the concert. That's a great campaign. Record companies are doing to use you're buying the product, you're telling others for the product. So basically, you're paying them money to become a mini ambassador for their brand. So that could go into your overall strategy. How do you want to be mentioned? How do you want to be talked about with a creative promotional product campaign? These are some of the things that you can achieve.
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay. So we also mentioned a little bit about like using products as a loss leader because we were talking about pricing strategies. And one thing I know that promotional materials have been really good for is kind of getting people in the door. What are your thoughts about using products as a loss leader? Because I know sometimes some companies actually advise against it because they're like, this is for it really is a loss, no pun intended, because you are just kind of like catering to price sensitive clients that may never actually be a consumer on the back end. But then other people are like, you work in the price on the back end to make up for whatever you're losing in the front end. So, what are your thoughts around working in promotional materials in that regard?
So it goes back to what I said earlier. If you can find a promotional product that could give a taste of the actual experience for your product and services for the end user, that will not be a loss leader. You're actually getting them to try. Maybe even what I would do is you sell it to them. So what you
Mm,
can do, for example, as a consultant, right? So instead of billing $100,000 campaign for the client, it's too much. Right? We don't want to spend right now. What if I come in for 5 hours or half a day? I'll charge you $1,000. So you get the same experience that I would be if I'm a full-time consultant for you. And the customer actually paying you for you to be on there. And then once they pay you, they might actually not going to look elsewhere because they already spent $1,000 with you. Are
right.
there promotional product? Are there things that you could create maybe a mini experience for them so that lead on to the big purchase? So if you plan it strategically, this can work.
Okay. What has been your most successful campaign? Like like I want to see an example of like it in action with the company that integrated all of these pieces together successfully.
I'll give you the story. And a lot of times when I talk to, especially if I talk to digital marketing experts, they will debate me. And even I've been on podcasts, with digital marketing experts, they'll debate me the effectiveness for digital marketing versus promotional product. What I
Mhm.
came to my consensus, and here would be my answer is you combine them together. The best strategy is you determine a call to action. Before you spend your hard-earned dollar, you already need to determine the possible outcome. And if you are a numbers guy, you need to determine your KPI. Are you trying to drive people onto your website? Are you trying to promote a certain product and services? Or are you just trying to gain followers? What you
Right.
can do in the digital world, for example, let's say you have certain followers for your personal page or your company page, you can actually create a sweepstakes. You can use maybe, let's say $500, right? A good example. Instead of buying all the money that you can buy for a cheap pen, buy one thing from me for $500 and use that as a sweepstakes and convert people with the KPI or the metrics that you're looking for, and then see how much more engagement you drive. I couldn't tell you how many times I sign up, give people my email, my address, my phone number, just trying to win like something that $15.
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay. Do you have another example of something that really works?
Well, this will be on the employment retention side. During COVID, a lot of us are working remotely. We're a virtual office. Some of the companies that I work for, they have 500 employees, but they don't have office anymore. So
Mm,
they still wanted to create that employees branding. That wanted to create the employees retention. So what we'll do is, we will create care boxes that the management decide they want to do, and we actually will send out to all the employees. And then so when they actually do virtual meetings, they could have cocktail hours, they could dress in the company's logo, and when someone has an anniversary or a birthday, they will be sent a gift. So these are some of the things that we have picked up during the pandemic. People are virtual, but they still want to be connected. So I think if you think about employees retention, promotional product is a great help.
that makes so much sense. Yeah, for sure. So if I'm going to summarize, not to end things, but to just really capture the idea. So if I'm understanding correctly, promotional products are a way to integrate items into your business that kind of galvanize people, give people an opportunity to get your logo out there, have people almost be like a walking logo for you, but then help build an experience around your product and your service as well.
I think, for when it comes to promotional product, only your creativity is the limit.
Mm, interesting. Okay, so for you, what are your thoughts around what you want to see in your industry, especially, and I'm starting to ask this question now, especially now that AI is starting to become a lot more prominent. What do you want to see in your industry as far as innovations or changes, as far as that creativity piece that you mentioned?
I'm really glad that you asked that question. And you will see a lot right now that people writing about sustainability. They're writing about eco-friendly. Certainly on the client side, a lot more clients are more conscious about what they're buying. For me, going back to my pen example, if you're creating a promotional product that 10 of your competitors are doing, your target audience probably have like 20 pens in the drawer. So the chances that your pens are going to the landfill are really skyrocket. But if you
Right.
really understand your ideal client, give them a meaningful gifts. The what we measure is we measure in cost for impression. For example, you spend $500 or you spend $10. How many times over the lifetime of the promotional product your logo will be seen? So
Right.
if it gets seen, that's what billboard are still out there, and bus stop signs are still there because they're high impression. People see that, and then you convert. So think about in terms of those, and if you really give people a meaningful gift that they can really use in the daily life, then they don't go to landfill. I still dress some of the band T-shirt that I bought from 10 years ago, so they're
Mm,
not going to waste if it means something to me.
right. Okay. And what about from the AI perspective? Because that's a an interesting angle that we're having to face now as well.
Well, I think in my industry, people will always be proud of their company. And
Mm,
even though the product might change, if you remember a few years ago, we have fidget spinner. Maybe 2 years ago, we have the power bank.
yeah.
The trend can fade, but there are still going to be people who are proud of the company. And there's still different strategies that you can develop using promotional product. So for me, I embrace AI. I don't think AI is a threat.
Okay, good. So for yourself, like what promotional products do you use within your own business to kind of like leverage people wanting to work with you?
What I like to do is we like to send out because our most busy season is the fourth quarter. So for me, when we send out a gift to our client, we actually don't send it out around Christmas in the fourth quarter. We actually send it around, I would say, before Thanksgiving. We like to send gift before Thanksgiving. Why? Because no one send customers gift around that time. People always send it on December. And then depending on the client that you have, if they are at a higher level, C level, there's so many gifts. They forgot who it is. I don't care how much you spend on the gift. They got bombarded with gifts. And
Yeah.
that serves two purpose. For us as a promotional product company, we begin the conversation early. So when we send the gift, chances are they're nice. They'll thank you for it. And then we have the conversation with them as a sales funnel, right? So have you thought about, your holiday product? Have you
Yeah.
thought about developing something different? So we kind of showcase them. That's like a catalog to them for them. This is what happening this year. This is what we send you as a thank you gift. So we actually using promotional product as a lead way for us to develop a sales strategy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How many people do you currently have on your team right now?
We have a small team, but as you know, with AI and Grammarly, I would say that I'm much more Swire than it will be.
Yeah.
Things that the ideas that I have, the mindset that we have, I can bounce with someone. I can sometimes bully AI. Sorry, AI, but they won't get upset. They give me a lot of ideas. So, and I think with virtual meeting, with the way that we're doing right now, Natalie, we can connect virtually.
Yeah.
If in the regular times we wouldn't have this conversation. So I think as a small business owner, this will lead on to a greater market for ourselves, and especially we have been focusing in government contracting for the past 7 years. So I
Mhm.
think is a big driver for our business for the past few years.
That's interesting. So in the government space, and I'm not trying to pivot at all, but this has been a really deep conversation because as a minority woman, it's really it's not easy, but certifying has a lot of benefits, right? So in the government space, you find that government wants to buy products for promotional services as well.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
I think in the government space, especially federal, state, and check with your local city official, used
Mhm.
to be when you're a minority, you don't say you're a small company, you don't say you're a minority. But if you are at a federal level or a state level, then you raise your hand. Yes, minority here, business, small
Yeah.
business, yes. And then
Mhm.
they're so happy to talk to you. They actually have a representative teach you how to do business with them.
Yeah.
I don't see anywhere that you could walk into a big business. They will actually teach you how to do business with them and walk you through the certification process and actually almost holding your hand to get those contracts. And depending on where you are, check with your local government agencies.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I think my question was more so like for you on the contracting side, you see that government wants to buy these products. Like they are looking to purchase promotional items for themselves as well. Like these are services that they do buy.
Yeah, our sales with them last year is over 6 digits.
That's
They're big buyer of promotional products.
if it's not too intrusive to ask, what's their biggest purchase?
They buy a lot of things. Like you can change the way that they think. They are big
Yeah,
ship, right? They're big
yeah.
entities. So you move along, you support them. They do a lot of engagement. We have done uh, branded canopies for them, a lot of pants, a lot of tote bags. So community engagement, right? So we actually with our certification, we actually were able to work with the army with the t-shirts. They were sourcing for you have to be a minority business. You have to source it locally. So we're able to find all the material that they want here and made in the US. And then we're able to do polo shirts, t-shirts for the army. So the opportunities out there, it might take a while to
Yeah.
find them and navigate all their lingual. But I think, look into it. It's kind of interesting.
Are you a prime contractor or a subprime contractor?
It depends on the contract. Sometimes we're a prime, and
Okay.
we also have been a subcontractor of some larger construction project. Obviously, we're
Mhm.
not in the construction business, but
Yeah.
there are that's why the employees retention piece come in, and then the community outreach come in because when you do a big contract, for example, like the LA Metro, you take up all the entire Los Angeles. Some people are going to get mad, and then that's why they do community outreach and send some promotional product and to build that relationship. So
Yeah.
we're both prime contractor and also a subcontractor.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because I literally was just speaking to someone about this the other day, and I want to say yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, because my memory fails me a lot. But I was just speaking to someone about this. I feel like it was yesterday, and we were speaking about, contracting on the prime side, and she was kind of getting discouraged because the field that she wanted, the services that she wanted to sell to the government required a lot of bonds and a lot of it's a lot of hoopla. I was telling her, like, depending on the code that you use is what the higher up the requirements are. But that's interesting. Okay, good. So it's good to know that it can work either way, but you do have to have some background and some knowledge about how to navigate that space because the government does ask for a lot. It's not like applying for grants or funding like it is on the uh, civilian side, right?
Well, I'll leave it at this. If you're able to know and at least have somewhat of an understand of their contracting lingo, they use a
Mhm.
lot of acronym. It's kind of like I think I am the expert in my industry, but the lingo that I use in the beginning really humbled me. Like, what does
Yeah.
that mean? But
Mhm.
once you speak the language, right, you can talk the talk. You can actually really go deep and understand what they're trying to do. And you have to keep in mind that when a buyer and purchasing agent in the government, they buy so many products. They might buy promotional product, or they might buy furniture, or they may buy software. They're not the expert like you think that they are. They
Mhm.
might know the lingo. They might have like 50 pages of legal jargon that you have to come through. But ultimately, you are the expert in the industry. So for us, we don't bid on anything. We
Mm,
just bid on things that we know that it's to our advantage, that we
right.
have a price advantage, or the buyer really need our help to be able to execute that. You have to distinguish because you might compete with 50 other vendors out there. So those are the ones that I shy from. But if I know, recently we worked with one project that I know at the end that only us can provide the solution for them and they need us.
Mm.
So, and that's how you're able to, make headway in government contracting.
Right. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into the government contracting wormhole because it can go very deep. Like it can go very deep. So someone has asked and other people have asked. So we're gonna go into a deep dive, probably do an entire month on government contracting. But yeah, that's great. So from a visibility standpoint, because the month of June, we're talking about visibility. We're talking about, generating interest in our business and attracting new customers. You would recommend the promotional. Of course, you may have a biased opinion about it, but you definitely would recommend using promotional materials as a way to attract new clients and get your company's logo and what's the word, brand out there.
Well, I'll still stick with if you haven't decided who your ideal clients are, you don't spend on promotional product. But
Right.
for example, what the strategy that I'll go through, and people when I ask them that question, they're taking back, why do you say that? I ask them, let's say you have $2,000, right? So 50 cents as a pen, you can buy 4,000 pens. Or I would challenge them, think about go back to your accounting software or go back to your CRM. Who are your top 10 clients for last year in terms of
Mhm.
revenue?
Right.
How much of a relationship, how many times do you reach out to them per year? If you let's say if you sell insurance, do you reach out whenever they need to renew their policy? Is that the only time that you call them? Then you
Right.
might be in trouble, right? You don't have that relationship. Anytime you call them, oh, this guy has only asked for another sell. So what if you and you should learn as much as you can about your top 10 clients. These are your top 10 clients.
Right.
So once you find out who they are, what they like, maybe they have a hobby that they have, then talk to me about, oh, this guy like golf, this person they like to play basketball, or this person likes to go surfing, whatever that they might want to do. Then I could help you narrow down to a really specific item that works for your top 10. Imagine, the holiday season very close, very likely coming quickly. What if you could develop and you can make a list of what your top 10 client wants? And then
Right.
you send them the gift that they have. And don't just send the gift and then forget about it. Sending promotional product to your client, especially for client retention, is a way for you to open up more conversation. And
Right.
don't forget just about the boss. If you're dealing with the C-level executive, don't forget about the executive assistant. My trick, I think, for helping sales professionals to get through the door is you don't get through the door. What I like to do is I be friends with all the secretary assistant because
Yeah.
ultimately these are the people that will open up the door to the final decision maker. And the decision maker is always too busy to take care of small little things like that I do for promotional product. So
Yeah.
it's actually the assistant, the secretary who handle those purchases. So think about the supporting staff too. Send them gifts as well and see how that goes.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, no, definitely. They're the gatekeepers. You can't forget them. That's so true. All right, Swire. I think we've covered our bases. This is some good information. And these are definitely some things that we need to sit down with, think about, and figure out how we're going to integrate for sure. Do you want to leave us with any parting words?
I think if you like, I have resources both. If you're interested in government contracting, definitely
Yeah.
reach out to me. I'm really active on LinkedIn. And
Okay.
if you don't know what the concept is for finding the ideal client, HubSpot has a free tools that can actually
Mhm.
help you develop a what they call a persona. You can have different persona if you service multiple industry. Use that as a guide to really drive deeper. To really categorize your client. Maybe your ideal client is in a certain space or a certain job title. Maybe your regular client is a certain title. And then using promotional product, you can actually think of different strategy and create campaign. What we didn't talk about also is how to get people's testimonial. Right
Right.
now, it's all about what people say about you. It's not what you say about yourself. What
Right.
if you have you can use promotional product as a thank you gift and also a leeway. Plus, if you send them a link, people can review you and give you testimonial a lot better than if you just send them an email with nothing. So think about different strategy, and happy to talk to anyone about a campaign, if you wanted to dive deeper in promotional products.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. No, thank you for offering to be a resource. That's amazing. So we'll be sure to add all of your information to the show notes so that everyone knows how to reach out to you for sure. Thank you so much, Swire. I learned a lot. I definitely will be reaching out. So I hope whoever is listening reaches out as well. If you don't have any other parting words, then I wish you the best, Swire Ho.
Thank you, Natalie.
Of course.